everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of Talks with Tasha. I am your host, Natasha, and I am so excited but actually so nervous to talk about what we're going to talk about today. So if you don't know, today is Mental Health Awareness Month. Oh my God, see, this is how nervous I am. So today I am both very excited but also very nervous to talk about this because it is a heavy and touchy subject for many, but not so much for me because, that's how life is. This month specifically is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I just thought, how awesome would it be if I talked about this, obviously this month, or clearly it is an awareness month for it. I'm so nervous because I don't think I've honestly talked about this out loud with anybody besides people I'm close with and my therapist. So let's get down and dirty and talk about everything mental health, what I do to help me when I'm feeling down and out, and what I do to take care of myself in moments like that. I always thought depression was just a mental game, I'm like, how can people be depressed? Like, that is such a in your head thing. Like, there's no way that exists. There's no way that happens. You can't be depressed like when you're alive and well and, happy. That was a bunch of BS because, they say don't talk about anything until it happens. I feel like it's the quote or around there, or don't speak of it because it's never happened to you. And it happened to me. Mental health can be a very tricky and very touchy subject for many because I feel like some believe in it, some don't. Some are like whatever about it, and they don't know the extent of what mental health is and what it does to you. I know growing up in the household that I did, I was raised in a Hispanic household. My parents were very old school, and my dad didn't believe in any of it. He thought it was a crock of shit, and I honestly, growing up, did too. I never experienced it. I'd never really brought it to light in the sense of like I never really thought about like what am I feeling. It wasn't until I was in my 20s and something very traumatic happened to me. I lost a dear friend to suicide, and that for me was like, it was just all the darkness that I had felt, I feel like, in my life came to light. And it wasn't until then that I realized I'm not okay. And it honestly made me super depressed. And I didn't know how to handle because no one had ever taught me how to handle something like that. But at the time, I had a boyfriend. I had a really good job. I had a good head on my shoulders. But truthfully, I thought I had lost everything. I ended up single a couple months after that. I almost lost my job. My parents damn near held an intervention for me because of how depressed I was. And that for me was, looking back, it was super scary because I was like, holy shit, I'd never experienced something like this before. Such a close death, at least, that at that point, I didn't know how to handle. I didn't know how to go about it. I don't think I had really been speaking to my therapist at that time. At that time, I used to take breaks, go back, and whatever. But I was lost. I was depressed. I was alienating everybody, including my boyfriend at the time. I never wanted to see him. I didn't want to see my family. I didn't want to hang out with anybody. I hardly wanted to go to work. And that was very tough, going to the funeral and seeing her mom and all of that was, for my first time, being 20 years old, I was like, wow, this is real life. This happens. And it wasn't until that where I was like, wow, we could be happy, we could be all of these things and have everything, but yet here we are struggling, behind closed doors, and we don't tell anybody, and we don't speak up for ourselves because, who's gonna care, right? And that was very tough. I had to realize this shit is really real. And this can happen to anybody. It can affect anybody at any time, at any point in their life, whether they are rich, successful, poor, have everything in the world, have a roof over their heads, it'll hit you, and it'll hit you quick. I know it did for me. And soon enough, I was, single, alone, and having to deal with all of these emotions that I'd never dealt with before, with parents that did not understand. And for me, speaking from experience, from obviously my point of view, because I lived it, they didn't understand, and they weren't going to, because of how old school they were. And that's not necessarily something to blame them for, because our parents are raised a certain way, taught a certain way, and all they can do is teach us. And so my dad was very tough love. My mom was very like, oh, you'll be fine. I'm here if you need anything. But it was so hard to speak up and say, I'm fucking sad, without knowing why, I have a roof over my head, I have a bed to sleep in, food in my stomach, parents that love me, siblings and friends that do too, and a job that I go to every day and loved at the time too. So it was hard to be like, I am sad because of this. I am sad because of that. Because one, I didn't know. All I knew was like my friend had passed, someone I was super close with. I worked with her all the time. We went to school together. We had the same friends. And that was very hard, because she was also one of the happiest people that I knew. And so that was tough to deal with, because I'm like, holy shit, like this person was so fucking happy all the time, cracking jokes, making me laugh my ass off, making everybody else around them laugh. But here they were dealing with things that none of us knew about. And that was very tough, because it just goes to show the happiest people are sometimes some of the saddest. And I'm going to read some statistics here on dosomething.org. I researched a lot about this because I didn't want to just talk out of my ass. But youth depression rates have risen from 5.9 to 8.2% since 2012. Another one here is half of all mental illnesses show early signs before a person turns 14 years old, and 3/4 of mental illnesses begin before age 24. We all struggle through things that we don't want to talk about. And it's hard to talk about because, like I said, I could be sad today, but be like, oh my God, but I have this house, I have this, I have that, I shouldn't be sad. And my parents would tell me the same thing, like, you can't be sad, you shouldn't be sad, and blah, 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 and you're ungrateful. But it's not the case at all. Mental health is a very hard and very scary thing to deal with. And it took me years, because I'm 22, it took me 2 years to grasp how to deal with such a thing, because it's so taboo to talk about, and no one talks about it, and no one wants to shed light to it, because it is so touchy and it is so tricky to deal with. And the more we speak about it, and the more we realize how much of a tough thing it is that people deal with, the better we can be as human beings. I am all about being kind and sensitive towards others. Do unto others how you would want done unto you. And I know I can live my life that way and be at peace every day, because we are all going through something in the end. You are going through something that I don't know about, that your friends don't know about, that your families don't know about. And it's very, very important to sit there and talk. Because when I was going through all of this, right, I was alienating my boyfriend at the time, I was alienating my friends, and I was dealing with this sudden death that just hit fucking home for me. And my parents are like, what the fuck is wrong with you? This happened, you gotta deal, you gotta get up and keep it moving. And I was like, I can't, I was like, how the hell do I deal with something I've never dealt with before, especially a death? That death for me really hits home, because it's love that you can no longer show somebody. Grief will always be with you. And along the way after that, I've had to learn that through therapy, and how to deal with those emotions in a healthy way. And, it is okay to not be okay. It is 1,000% okay not to be okay. And I hope you know that. I hope your friends know that. And I had to come with the realization that it is okay not to be okay. Through therapy, many years of it, I've been in therapy now for, I want to say 4 years, about to be 4 years. I've been able to cope in certain healthy ways and help myself through very low moments, because I know that we all have those. And I have, one of those dark days, one of those low days, one of those sad days, which is maybe once a week. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like we all have those, 100%. I love to do things that will get me up, get me moving. I love to cope, right? I feel like we all find coping mechanisms, which is, I think, super, super important, healthy ones at least. For me, I've found a routine in the morning when I wake up to be very helpful. So I wake up at a certain time and I don't let myself, linger in bed or press snooze. I wake up at a certain time, which for me is 8 in the morning, 8 to 8:30 in the morning, depending on the time that I do go to sleep. I don't touch my phone when I wake up. I read. And then I will meditate, I will pray, I will say my blessings, I will journal, and then I will get the day started. I will eat, I will go for a walk around my block, and then come back and get the day started. Whether that's work, whether that's working out, I do that every single day. And I hate routines. I think that's one of my biggest, I don't ever want to do routines, but something like that will get your day started, will get you moving, will get you motivated and going with the day. I think having a routine when you wake up is so important, because when I didn't have a routine, and an example, I would work 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and I'll get up at 1:30, brush my hair, brush my teeth, and walk out the door. And I won't eat till 11 p.m., right after work. And that for me was very sad, because life was living me. I wasn't living life. I was going day by day, and I was going with the flow. Something me and my therapist have always talked about is going with the flow and living life. It's always fun here and there to go with the flow, but it's always important to take life by the reins, right? And live life for you, and very intentionally, whether that's, I'm gonna wake up today and go get coffee. That's what you're gonna do. That's gonna make you feel better. You fucking do it, right? Or I'm gonna wake up and I'm going to watch meditation videos. You fucking do that if it's gonna make you feel better. So for me, not going with the flow, waking up in the morning, has helped me tremendously, because I didn't have a routine. I wasn't disciplined. I wasn't living life. I was just, I gotta wake up at 2:30 and I have to go to work at 3. I was wasting my whole day going to sleep. But then I wasn't doing anything for myself. I wasn't waking up, I wasn't stretching, I wasn't meditating, I wasn't praying, I wasn't journaling. And that wasn't good for me. I was in a rut. I felt like I was stuck in the same place every single day. And it was not fun at all. It was very depressing. And so once I did that, I felt myself and my mood increase. And when I did have those low days where I woke up and was like, I can't do today. Something little as, okay, I really just don't feel like meditating today, but I am going to go get a coffee, because I know that's going to make me feel better. I know me going to get coffee will always make me feel better. Just the other day, I had a whole day off. All I did was sleep. I stayed in bed till 3 p.m. And I said, Natasha, enough's enough. You're going to get up, you're going to shower, and then you're going to go get a coffee. Did it take me a minute to do all that? Absolutely, but I did it. My mood instantly changed. I was ready to get the late day started, right? Because I started my day at 3 p.m., but at least I got it down. I did something, and I did something that was going to make me feel better. And that was getting a fucking coffee. Something as simple as that. Spending $4 literally made me feel better, because I was spending it on something that I knew was going to make me a tiny bit happier, which was coffee. And it did. It increased my mood tremendously. I decided to pull up one of my Instagram pictures where I talked about mental health for the first time probably in my life. And I want to read it to y'all, because this was 2 years ago almost. And it was very good to talk about. And this kind of wraps up or summarizes everything that I've been talking about today. So here I go. I want to come on here and express some words for anyone and everyone that is lonely, sad, mad, depressed, anxious, etc. You do not have to suffer alone. You don't need to be alone. Growing up, I used to think mental health and depression were all in your head. Then I grew up and realized life is tough. It's not always rainbows and sunshines like we grow up thinking it'll be. About a year ago, I began going through my fair share of sadness and anxiety. Anxious I wasn't doing enough for my family, for my friends, and even for myself. I was happy one day and completely lost the next. In December of 2019, I lost one of my friends, and then so many things were put into perspective. I cried, and still do, myself to sleep every night and woke up not wanting to get out of bed. I was completely lost. I was a mess. It was hard for me to accept that I could be going through such a tough time. Social media is a getaway for many, even for myself. But millions of therapy sessions later, and I am nowhere near where I want to be mentally. But each day, I accept my struggles, I accept who I am and who I've become, and know I am stronger, wiser because of what I go through. I am brave, I am strong. Reach out to anyone. You're not alone, and you don't have to suffer alone. Our greatest battles are within our own minds. We are in control. You are in control. You are strong. Keep going, keep fighting. You're loved and you are wanted. You matter. So smile the best you can, do things that make you happy, and live for no one else except yourself. I hope this makes anyone feel less alone, and a tad bit better. We're all fighting demons none of us know about. And then actually one of my favorite quotes is, "There is hope, even when your brain tells you there isn't," by John Green. So yeah, that honestly, I don't want to cry. But that was one of the first times that I think, social media or anyone knew that I was going through something and battling depression and anxiety and all these other things. And I had never been diagnosed, and thank God that it's never been that bad. But when you know, and you're not alone. You never have been, and you never will be. I know there was times in life where I thought I was alone, and there was times where I thought, I am never going to get through this. Sorry. But I did, and I've become stronger because of it. I've become wiser because of it. I've become who I am now because of it. And it sucks to say, and it sucks to think about, but we have to go through these things in order to learn, in order to grow, in order to become the people we're destined to become. You may not be religious, but I am, and I believe that God does everything for a reason. He puts people in your life for a reason. He puts situations in your life for a reason. He makes things happen for a reason and not happen for a reason. I read this quote recently that I posted on my Instagram, and I'll post it here if I can. Rejection is redirection. And that was beautiful to read, because so many things we want for our lives, so many things we want for anything, so many people we want in our lives, but God says yes and no to everything, right? He takes people out of your life, he puts people in your life, and people are either a blessing or a lesson. And situations happen, and shit happens, shit hits the fan for a reason. And although it's so hard to think like, why fucking me? You have to say, thank you, God. And thank you for putting me in this situation, because I know I'm going to learn from it. Now, do we think that when we're going through something? Absolutely not. I know I still have my moments where I'm like, fuck, like, why am I going through this? Why is my day going horribly? But I know that this is teaching me something. Whether it's super small or super big, I know that in life, it's teaching me something. And there is a purpose in the pain. And that's something that I've talked about previously, is finding purpose in the pain. So when my friend did pass, I knew I wanted to bring awareness to mental health. And I knew I needed to take my mental health seriously, because I don't want some shit to happen again. I don't want another death in my life in order for me to realize how fucking precious life is, and how delicate it is, and how we go through so much and we just coast by through life instead of saying, I'm fucking going through this. Okay, what am I trying to learn? What is God trying to teach me? And I get it if you're not religious, but always find purpose in what is going on in your life. Find purpose in the pain. Find purpose in the struggle. Find purpose in anything in life that you're trying to do. Find purpose in the depression, Okay, I'm depressed today. What can I do to get myself out of this? And that's exactly what I focus on, whether it's journaling, whether it's reading, whether it's going for a walk, calling my best friend. You're not alone, and you never will be. You do not have to struggle alone. There are so many resources. There are so many people that care about you, and make that known to your friends. Even if you're not going through something, your friend Sally may, and she doesn't want to talk about it because she feels like there's no one there to talk to. So all in that, I didn't mean to get so emotional, but that post really just brought back so many things. But overall, happy Mental Health Awareness Month. I hope that you know how loved and precious and beautiful that you are, and you're so strong and you're so brave, and there is nothing in this world that can take that away from you. So continue to keep fighting and find your purpose in the pain, because it is there and it is teaching you something, and life is beautiful. It really is. We have our ugly moments, but life is fucking beautiful, and we cannot take it for granted. I've said it before, we have one life to live and one life to live only. And we are the only ones living it. So we might as well make it the best fucking life we can make it. Thank you so much for coming to Talks with Tasha. I appreciate every single one of you. I know this is a heavy topic, but I hope you could relate in some form or fashion. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for coming back. If you're new here, welcome. And yeah, that was a lot. I feel like I say that every episode, but that was a lot. I'm kind of nervous to post this, but thank you once again. I hope you like, comment, subscribe, share with your mom, dad, your best friend, and make someone feel good today. Be kind to yourself, be kind to your mind, and be kind to your heart. Mwah!